Steve Jobs. It's T, here to review it. I saw it, I got some thoughts. Otherwise, this wouldn't be a very long video. So this version of the Steve Jobs movie stars Michael Fassbender. It also has Seth Rogen as Steve Wozniak, and it has Kate Winslet, directed by Danny Boyle, and written, of course, by Aaron Sorkin. Personally, I think that the movie had a very interesting structure. I'm not sure if you've read it all about it, but the way it's structured is, and this is not a spoiler, this is just telling you the general structure of the movie, so calm down. Each act basically focuses on a specific point in time in Steve Jobs' life that was sort of a turning point for him as an innovator, or as I like to say, innovator, and in his career. It starts off in 1984 with the launch of the Mac computer. Then we focus on the launch of the next computer, and then the final act focuses on the launch of the iMac. So it sort of takes you through three critical watershed moments in his life, and sort of ties in the various things surrounding his personal life in conjunction with those events. A huge part of the movie is his relationship with his first daughter, Lisa, whom for the earliest part of her life, he denied being her father. So that's sort of a big point of contingency in the first act. As we move through time, the actual look of the film changes too, which I thought was very interesting. In the 1984 part, it has a very sort of like aged, grainy film stock look to it. So it looks like it's actually from 1984 potentially, and as we get closer and closer to the present, we never ultimately do, of course, because we end on the iMac, the look of the movie gets more and more crisp and clear. Do I think the movie was good? Personally, I think it sort of felt a lot more like an HBO movie than a theatrical release. I think that had a lot to do with this sort of experimental structure that they did with it. I think that almost made the movie feel too small to feel like it was an actual feature film for theaters. Performance-wise, I thought it was great. Seth Rogen does a great job as the Woz. I think that was actually kind of a stroke of genius casting there, because he really does resemble him in a lot of ways, and you don't think you're just looking at Seth Rogen necessarily, where he's just being his usual like chortling stoner self. I think he does do a good job of actually playing a different character, because remember, in the earlier part of Seth Rogen's career, he was like kind of just an actor on Freaks and Geeks and stuff like that. So it's nice to see him taking, a break from the writing and directing and producing and stuff and actually just being an actor again. Now here's the caveat. I don't love this movie personally because I'm just at a point where I find Aaron Sorkin's writing to be kind of tedious and exhausting. If you love that rat-a-tat-tat, super fast dialogue, everyone's the smartest one in the room, crosstalk, everyone, finishing each other's thoughts and interrupting each other kind of thing, have at it, because you will love this movie. It feels so much more like an Aaron Sorkin movie than a Danny Boyle movie. And to be honest, I'm a huge fan of a lot of Danny Boyle's movies, but I don't really know how to say what is the essence of him as a director. There's not really anything that I can latch onto and say that's total Boyle, but I do love so many of his other movies. But I guess that's another conversation. In any event, this feels very much more like an Aaron Sorkin movie than anything. So if you're not into Aaron Sorkin, you're gonna hate this. As far as how this compares to the Ashton Kutcher Jobs movie, that was a runny dump, and I hated it. I saw it on a plane. Even just remembering sitting through that makes me angry all over again. This one, I had some issues with it, but it's definitely a far better one, probably because they didn't rush it. And that's it. Make sure you subscribe to CineFix, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye. The epitome of creativity.